were second more shots. And so that's was a clarification that I had, and I just wanted to share that with them, make sure that they understood it. Why do you think it was?
Because it was multiple shots. It wasn't just that. It was like.
Hold on. This is the sentencing phase of one case. But the dialogue before was about clarifying details for another case. The one about the multiple shots. The judge's sudden turn to life in prison here shows us just how high the stakes are in this first case. We're witnessing a life being permanently changed right now.
Like automatic?
It's going to be a $0 fine, and it's life in prison. You understand?
Thank you. Mr. Kreider, what do you want to tell me before I impose sentence?
I'm sorry for everything.
Quit your crying and tell me what that means. So, of course it shouldn't have. It's your daughter, for God's sake.
Wow. The judge's reaction is absolutely piercing. Quit your crying and tell me what that means. This isn't just a judge. It's a scathing indictment of the defendant's lack of genuine remorse and accountability. He's trying to minimize his actions, and the court is not having it. Do you think a tearful apology is enough if a defendant refuses to admit the full scope of their crime? Let us know in the comments.
Of course it shouldn't have happened. Now, you come here, you profess to take accountability and responsibility for what you've done, and you don't take one bit of responsibility for what you did because you can't even admit what you did.
Imprisonment. Well, that's not what I meant. Life without the possibility of parole. Don't get the wrong impression on that one. Life without the possibility of parole for count 1, followed by 15 years consecutive imprisonment for count 8.
See what type of man he was going to become, or have a wife or kids or a job.
Okay, major shift. We've transitioned from the first case of sentencing, the abuse case, to the Richard Montez capital murder case. This next section details a bizarre but crucial legal moment. The prosecution having to dismiss and refile a 4.5-year-old case because key witnesses weren't available. This is a huge win for the defense, even if it's temporary. The sheer frustration of the victim's mother is completely understandable.
3 men ended up charged with capital murder. 2 agreed to plea deals last year, while the third, Richard Montez, was supposed to go to trial August 1st. But key prosecution witnesses weren't available, and since the judge denied his request to delay the trial of the 4.5-year-old case, the special prosecutor asked it be dismissed instead, intending to refile.
I was like freaking out. I was telling the lady, like, y'all screw me over. Y'all gonna let him go.
With no charge to hold him on, it meant Montez was released from jail, leaving Medina worried about what would happen.
I still feel that way, like he's gonna leave or something. I don't know, because like, how do you give him a chance to get out like that?
But the special prosecutor confirmed to KSAT that on Tuesday, a grand jury indicted Montez again in the same case. Welcome news to Medina.
I won't have my full relief until he's after trial, till he's behind bars, and I know he's going to prison for what he did.
The other 2 who took deals, Andres and Juan Martinez, were sentenced last month to 22 and 24 years in prison. But since that happened while there was no charge against Montez, lawyers involved in their cases told KSAT the pair don't have to testify like their deals had required. How that will affect the case against Montez, still to be seen.
Let's zoom in on this courtroom argument. The defense is raising a key procedural issue. Notice of 404B, evidence. In many U.S. courts, Rule 404B governs other acts evidence. The defense is essentially arguing, you can't spring new testimony on us about additional shots without proper, timely notice, even if the prosecution intends to refile the case later. This technicality is the defense's bread and butter, especially when dealing with ambiguous witness statements about multiple sets of shots.
Judge, I think her written statement is a bit unclear. She initially talks about hearing shots and then going out and then seeing more shots. And so that's why when we talked to her, she was able to clarify what that meant. So there were earlier shots and then there were more shots. And so was a clarification that I had, and I just wanted to share that with them, make sure that they understood that.
But again, Judge, having an open file policy does not give me notice they intend to use that unless they give me notice, and the notice was given yesterday.
It's the same transaction. 404B applies to extraneous acts, not the acts that apply to the same.
Why are you giving me 404B notice of it?
All right, so here's the thing, everyone. We're not going to talk over each other. We're going to be kind and courteous to each other. I understand that everybody's representing their viewpoints. I'm here to hear your viewpoints and just make a decision. So, with regards to your motions, this is what we're going to do. Today, as everyone knows, we're only doing jury selection. That's it. So, what I'm going to want from each party is I'm going to want a copy of that video. I'm going to review it. Mr. Montez is going to have to go back because I don't want the deputies to have to transport him back this evening. We're going to be here late. I'm going to review that video and I'm going to hear all your arguments about the motion in limine. I'm going to hear your arguments about the 404B and what should and should not come in. So we will do that at that time. But the motion for continuance is denied. And we will go over this 404B step by step. And what I need to know from both parties is what I've just been handed the 5 statements that are in here. I need to know if somebody has said that in detail in their statement that was given to the defense. I need to know that. And then after I know that, I will make my decision, an informed decision on whether or not this should be excluded or not. In defense, I understand your argument that you're supposed to have notice of 404B, and it doesn't matter if it's in somebody's statement or not, you were supposed to be given notice of it. I understand that. But what I want is each one of these statements that they were given notice of, I want to know if that's already been tendered to them in this fine of detail through someone else's statement. And then the court will make its ruling on whether or not this is excluded or not. So when we do jury, we can go off the record burner. So with the jury selection in this court, I don't believe I've had any of you all for jury selection.
I think Kelly's missed that.
So my understanding is that, is there a request for an hour each side?
How many panel members are there?
90.
90? We would request 75 minutes just because it can take a little longer to go through specific because it's not 65 people. So I'll just ask for additional 15 minutes.
Okay.
I talk a lot.
All right. Well, just make sure that everyone, when you're talking, you remember the court reporter, and we're going to make her life easier today. So I will give you all each that time. And the way I do voir dire is I will give an introductory statement. Please listen to my introductory statement because sometimes I've already asked questions and maybe you don't need to re-ask them. You can concentrate on other things. So the state will go first and they will have that entire time. Then we will take a break. Then the defense will go second and you will have that entire time. I don't call back 90 people. So if there's something you want to raise with the jury, you need to raise it then and there. There is not to be a strikes in front of the panel. We do that afterwards. And if you all can confer and see which persons you all can agree on, then let the court know. I'm usually pretty liberal with following your agreements with regards to that. And we will have 4 alternates.
Well, my bedroom was in the back. It was in the back because my sister, and then it's the restroom, and then my room. And then you could see everything from that window.
Which window?
From my window, where I was sleeping, you could see everything in there.
From your window.
From my window, yes.
And when you hear the second group of shots, what do you do?
I do the same thing. I get my daughter and I humber her, like I cover her because she was just only a baby. Like I didn't know where the bullets were flying or anything.
And at any point, did you look out the window?
The window, I did look out.
When did you look out the window?
After I hovered my daughter, because like when I hovered, I was looking out to the window and I see they're like just flying like at the street. Because you know how it's Angela like this, and then what is it, Picoso, on like going the other way. So the bullets were going that way on Picoso, not Angela walk. It was going the other way.
And just so I'm clear, when you hear the first set of shots that go out, do you look out the window or do you stay inside?
No, I was. We're looking out through the window with the police on the phone.
So when you hear the first set of shots, you're looking out the window. What do you see?
I see Anthony and the 3 boys. I mean, and the 2 boys.
So you see Anthony and 2 boys?
Yes.
Had you ever seen those 2 boys before?
Yes, because they live right across the street from my sister.
Are they younger or older than Anthony?
They're way younger than Anthony.
So when you see them out, you see the defendant out there with his 2 friends. Did you see, were they holding any weapons or doing?
They did have weapons on them.
And handguns, rifles, or do you remember?
The second shots, I believe it was like a rifle or something because it was a loud bang. But the first shots, they were like handguns.
Why do you think it was?
Because it was multiple shots. It wasn't just that. It was like automatic.
And so the second time you were shooting, when did you look outside?
When we looked outside, after the shooting happened, after the gunshots happened, like we looked outside and we see all 3 of the guys run inside. And then when we hear the cops come, we run to the back. My sister runs to the back and she sees the ambulance and she was like, someone got hit. So after that, the cops questioned us and they asked us, do you know who it was? And we told them we do.
Sustained.
It's been some while. My stepfather's from San Antonio.
So did you move here when you were a kid?
Yes, sir. Just off and on. Back and forth.
Off and on, is that?
Yes, sir.
And I can only imagine how hard this is for you, so that'll, but we'll try to run through this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So how many children do you have?
I have 11.
And that's a lot. How old are your oldest?
He's gonna be 23.
And how old are your youngest?
He's 9.
And was Angel your son?
Yes, sir. He was my baby boy from my first marriage.
Talk to us about Angel.
Angel was a good boy. Good in school. Very respectful to everybody. It's sad they took my son like that because he wasn't in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was in the privacy of his home. And we were doing family things like anybody, that loves their family. My kids were always with me.
Let's talk about that, Sotero. Let's go back to, unfortunately, February 2nd of 2018. Who was at your house that night?
It's me and my kids.
All of them, or?
No, I just had it was my oldest boy, Sotero, John, Angel, Caterino, Ezekiel, and Serenity in the home.
And do you recall the address you lived at?
203 St. Christopher Walk.
203 St. Christopher Walk?
Yes, sir.
Is that in the Casiano?
Yes, sir, it is.
And was that right off Picosa?
Yes, sir.
Now, you're there with your kids, and did you have a girlfriend at the time?
Yes, sir.
And was she there as well?
She was there as well.
Had you guys been eating dinner or watching TV, or what were you doing?
We just got through having dinner, so we were all just laughing and carrying on in the house, just having family time.
And what do you remember next?
I remember standing in front of my kitchen window and hearing a bunch of gunfire. So I screamed to them to get down. My oldest boy was asleep in the living room. Andrew was standing at my refrigerator with his brother. They were talking. Like I said, we were all just talking. When I told everybody to get down, my son John ran up the stairs and Angel was right behind him. When I heard a loud pop, and I turned to look and all that glass flew in my face. And I knew a bullet had came in because I seen the big hole in my kitchen window. When my girlfriend started screaming, then my son was on the floor not moving and there was blood. So I crawled over to my oldest son that was asleep in the living room where he wouldn't get up and get shot too because there was a lot of gunfire going on. And I told him he couldn't get up because my son had been shot. And he begged me, please let me go to my brother. And I told him he can't. And he begged me, please let me go to my brother because they were raised together. He was a father figure to my son when I wasn't around. He had to go home with his brother, taking his last breath, because they took his brother from him and from my whole family. I don't have no resentment toward anybody, but God forgive them. And may he ask God for forgiveness, because God is the only one that gives mercy in this world that we live in.
Was standing in the kitchen by the fridge with his brother.
Yes, sir.
And then you start hearing gunshots.
This is a gut-wrenching victim impact statement, VS, from Angel's father in the capital murder case. Listen to the sheer weight of his words. It sounded like a little war outside, over maybe 100 rounds of better. This wasn't a skirmish. It was an execution attempt on a home. The violence here is the core tragedy, and this raw testimony connects the legal conviction back to the devastating human cost.
How many gunshots do you think you heard?
It sounded like a little war outside. There was that much gunfire. There was over maybe 100 rounds, if better.
And so then obviously you were scared, and everyone was scared, I'm sure.
I was terrified, not for myself, for my children. There had been many times gunfire outside, but never like that.
All right, if the defendant could rise. The verdict states, we, the jury, find the defendant, Richard Montez, guilty of the offense of capital murder as charged in count 1 of the indictment. You may be seated. You may be seated, Mr. Montez. Defense or state, do you wish to have the jury polled?
No, Your Honor. Yes, Judge.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you if this is your verdict. If this is your verdict, I need you to respond yes. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll start here and work our way down, then go to the back. Is this your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
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 Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
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 All right, thank you. All right, what we're going to do now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have you retire back to the jury room, and I'll meet to speak with you there. And then the alternates, you're able to go back to the jury room with them as well. All right. All right, everyone, please rise for the jury. Mr. Montez, with a finding of guilt of capital murder, the punishment is life in prison without possibility of parole. Do you understand?
It's not.
All right. State with regards to a fine, I'm assuming you are not, well, I don't want to make an assumption. Are you asking for a fine?
We're asking for the court to just do whatever it takes to.
Okay. Then it's going to be a $0 fine, and it's life in prison. You understand?
It's not.
All right. I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorneys? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
All right. Because this was a jury trial, you do have a right to appeal. Do you understand? And your attorneys will go over with the time frames for filing a motion for a new trial or filing a notice of appeal. They'll let you know what the time frames are for that. And counsel, of course, as you know, if someone needs to be appointed to the appeal, we will sign that. Is there anything else from either side?
I think the mom wanted to make a big commitment.
Okay. All right. Have her come forward. All right, Mr. Montez. What happens now is a family member will have something to say to you. What I can tell you is in the 187th District Court, it's been a long day. In the 187th District Court, I require that everybody be treated with respect. I don't care what you're charged with or where you come from. I require all parties in the courtroom to treat everybody with respect. So she will speak to you respectfully and just internalize it, okay? All right, thank you. Casting.
I just want to tell you, I felt my heart and my soul leave my body. And then for you to drag me through this again, see him laying on the floor like that. That was my baby. We had plans. He's never going to have a wife, never get married, never going to do none of that because of people like you. And it's not a bad neighborhood, it's a bad neighborhood because of people like you. This was his last 14th birthday. And I was out there with him at the Castellanos. We played football in the backyard. You ruined my life and my kid's life. You ruined my son's life. And took everything from me, everything. Just wanted to do stupid stuff. It only ruined my life. It ruined Mr. Gallego's life. It ruined them two young boys' life. My kids. And then to see my baby laying on the floor, and there was nothing I could do. Nothing. Then when I had him, like him, took my life too. And I hope you think about that every day that you're in there. I don't get no more Christmas, no more birthdays, no more nothing. Nothing. And I left it in God's hands, and God took care of it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Just one moment, please.
That's it, Judge.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Rod Mastandrea on behalf of Mr. Kreider. Your Honor, there's not much to say here other than I do want to say that my client is profoundly sorry for all of the actions and transgressions that have happened here. I'd like the court to know that all of the sentiments that are going to be echoed here in the sentencing memorandum, my client certainly is going to spend the rest of his life trying to atone for this. Whether or not he ever will be able to do that, I don't know, but I know that he certainly is very, very sorry. To that end, Your Honor, we would just like you to consider running any sentence that this court may impose concurrently. And we would ask that the court consider everything in the sentencing memorandum about my client. He's already 61 years old. He would like an opportunity in the twilight of his life for any amount of time that is to be around people that love him or around his family and continue to make those amends as much as he can. He understands that that's probably going to be a very, very far-fetched idea, but certainly my client cannot be more and more profoundly sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kreider, what do you want to tell me before I impose sentence?
I'm sorry for everything. Sorry, Samantha. Sorry to her family. Sorry for everything.
Anything further you'd like to say?
Sorry to everybody that's involved.
Celeste?
Your Honor, prior to addressing the court, the victim's mother would like to speak.
All right, would you just state your name and tell me whatever you want me to know?
Catherine Bruff.
Okay.
Am I allowed to read it?
Yeah.
I can't believe we are here. I don't wish this on anyone. Very hard to parent to watch your child go through something like this. I hope you don't. I don't have it. You don't get that pleasure anymore. You make me sick to my stomach. I hope you right and karma gets you. For everything you did to her.
Thank you. Celeste?
Thank you, Your Honor. In this case, it's difficult to imagine how this could be much worse. The defendant was the victim's biological father, someone who should love, protect, and care for the victim at all costs. And the victim was, and still is, just a child. She was someone who was vulnerable, dependent, and trusting of the defendant. And instead of being the parent, the man that he should have been, this went on for over 5 years. The harm in this case extends beyond just physical. We don't need a psychiatrist or a psychologist to come in here and say that the victim will endure lifelong emotional trauma as a result of this. She already is in therapy. Her childhood, her sense of security, and her trust in the most fundamental human relationship in her life were taken from her. And the victim in this case was not just young, I mean, she was profoundly innocent. One thing that stood out to me when I was evaluating this case was when I reviewed the victim's cell phone extraction, which had a search history that was asking if Santa was real. I think that single search is a glimpse, a heartbreaking window into just exactly how old and how innocent she was at the time that this happened. She was a little girl trying to understand the world, seeking answers about Santa Claus. And the defendant, I recognize that the defendant took some accountability by pleading and avoiding having to put the victim through a trial in this case. But he still continues to minimize his conduct. In the pre-sentence report, he stated he did not put his blank in her, and I assume he was referring to as given his response here in court. He said, "That's bull," when I mentioned what exactly happened. When asked what he did do, he said he played with her, he guesses. And when asked how long this went on, he said a little while. There's no sentence that this court could impose that can undo the damage the defendant has caused here. But this court can ensure a punishment that reflects the seriousness of the defendant's conduct and protects the community from an offender who betrayed every conceivable duty as a parent and a human being. The state is asking for a maximum consecutive sentence. I understand, I recognize, and I appreciate that this will be virtually a life sentence for the defendant. But I think anything less would be a life sentence for the victim. She deserves to graduate high school, to go to college or start a career, to start a family if that's something she wants, without having to worry about where the defendant is or what he's doing. A maximum aggregate sentence here would not be disproportionate to the defendant's conduct, and we would ask that the state impose such sentence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kreider. You indicated when Ms. Alessi started talking, when she was talking about the activity, you said that's bull. So now's your opportunity to say whatever it is you want to say in response to that.
No.
What?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Well, it's my recollection that you pled guilty back on October 24th to 2 counts of rape for the specified activity outlined by Ms. Alessi and 2 counts of with the activity outlined by Ms. Alessi. Now you're telling me that you didn't, by your statement, that's bull. It kind of indicates that you didn't do those things.
I didn't do some of that.
What?
I didn't do.
Okay. So when you were presented with the paperwork to provide your written version of what occurred, you did not return that. You indicated to the corrections staff that you could not read or write and could not fill out the pre-sentence questionnaire. Is that true?
Yes.
It is. You're aware that your phone, the information on your phone was extracted, correct? You seem to be pretty proficient on the use of texts. Is that right?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Well, I'm
I
gonna-
speak it and it puts,
Okay, so you use that voice activation?
yeah.
And so when the victim says on 2/27/25, I can't come this weekend, I can't call, you then speak into the phone, why not? Right?
Yeah.
No, you didn't? Well,
Yeah.
somebody's got your phone then, or what?
Yeah. I said, yeah.
Okay. And then the victim says, I'm on the bus. And your response by voice activation, why can't you come this weekend, right?
Hmm.
And then immediately after that, and don't tell me you're going over a friend's house because that ain't gonna fly. That was your response, right?
I don't remember, but
Well, I'm reading it.
yeah.
This is
No, that's
information provided to you and your attorney by the state from your phone extraction. So you responded that way. Then she says, I have to help my grandma clean and do other stuff. And you say, whatever. Victim, I do not know why you are getting mad. Question mark. Because it happens all the time. Victim, I'm going to bed because I have a headache and I'm very tired. Good night. Your response? Good night. So you seem to be able to read exactly what she's texting to you before you respond, because all your responses are appropriate for the nature of the conversation. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you can read.
No, I can't.
You can't.
It reads it to me.
Okay. All right. How is it that you're able to navigate the internet and go to some of those most vile websites with links that you clicked on?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, yes, you do. Okay.
Actually, I don't.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example. There are countless websites, countless links that you clicked on and went to. Did you not?
I might have.
You might have. It's something
Probably
that,
did.
what, escapes your memory?
I probably did.
You definitely did.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going halfway there. You're going halfway here with everything. Okay. As Ms. Alessi indicated in your pre-sentence report, you indicate that you didn't do the things she said you did, right? That's what you told the PO, right? Right?
Yes.
Okay. That you just played with her a little bit. What does that mean exactly? What does that, tell me what that means. Quit your crying and tell me what that means.
Messed around with her.
Okay. Tell me what that means. You tell me what specific activity you engaged in with that 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 and 14-year-old girl. Tell me.
Stuff I shouldn't have done.
What? What did you do?
Touched her.
Touched her how?
Inappropriate.
Okay. See, you won't say. Okay.
Back to the earlier case. Notice how the judge, now speaking with incredible intensity, is forcing the defendant to use specific, non-euphemistic language. When the defendant says he messed around or touched her inappropriately, the judge demands, tell me what specific activity you engaged in. This reluctance to confess the explicit details is a final proof of his selfishness and lack of real accountability, which ultimately seals his maximum sentence. A stark lesson in how true remorse is judged in a courtroom.
You won't say what you did. You won't admit to yourself what you did.
It shouldn't have happened.
So of course it shouldn't have happened. It's your daughter, for God's sake. Of course it shouldn't have happened. Now you come here, you profess to take accountability and responsibility for what you've done, and you don't take one bit of responsibility for what you did because you can't even admit what you did.
Sorry.
You're sorry. Empty words, because you're not sorry. If you were sorry, you would admit what you did, but you won't do it. Just like you might have gone on these websites, right?
I did go on the website.
Right. Finally, an admission to something. You had a suspicion. You're perceptive enough to have had the suspicion that when she was calling you toward the end of this nonsense, that she was on speakerphone and other people were listening. And you begged her over and over not to tell anybody, right? Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Why did you beg her not to tell anybody?
Because I was going to get in trouble.
You were going to get in trouble. Okay. So that your primary concern was for you
No.
not to get in trouble. Right?
Yes, and I wanted her to talk to her to work it out.
To work what?
So I don't mess with her anymore.
Why didn't you just stop doing it? What did you need to work out with her such that you would stop messing with her anymore? Why didn't you just do it?
That's what I was going to do.
You were going to do it.
That's what I was going
Okay,
to talk.
I don't want to hear the answer to what you were gonna do. Why didn't you stop?
I was going to.
You were going. When were you going to?
I talked to her.
Great. That's a great plan after 6 years of this. Miss Alessi was 100% correct when she said that she couldn't imagine there's anything more vile than what you did to your daughter at any age, let alone 8 up through 14. I can't imagine what goes through somebody's mind that does that. Now, you came here when you had a chance to talk and said through your crocodile tears that you're sorry. Okay. Now, when you were talking to the probation officer and compiling this report, not one time did you express anything that indicated you gave a damn about the situation that your daughter was in. Your daughter was in during these 6 years and will be in for the remainder of her life. All you care about, okay, all you profess to the probation officer to care about was getting out in 10 years. You know why that is? Because you're a selfish person. You were a selfish person with your daughter, and you remain selfish to this day.
Not so.
You are very selfish. You're the definition of selfish. All you give a damn about is you.
Not true.
Not true. Very true.
I love her.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. Okay. That's an offensive statement that you love her. Okay. After you did what you did to her for all those years. So don't give me that. Anything else you want to say? All right. I've reviewed the pre-sentence report. Reviewed the victim impact statement. I've listened to Ms. Rux. You can remain seated.
All right. Sorry, Judge.
All right. I have reviewed and considered all the information in the sentencing memorandum, considered what The defendant has said what Mr. Mastandrea has said, what Ms. Alessi has said. And I have considered all the provisions of 292911, 292912, 292913, and 292914. On count 13, I want to impose a prison sentence of 60 months. On count 14, I'm going to impose a prison sentence of 60 months. On count 6, I'm going to impose a prison sentence of 10 years up to life. On count 7, I'm going to impose a sentence of 10 years up to life. And these sentences will be consecutive to one another. And that's because consecutive service is necessary to protect the public from future crime by you and for the appropriate punishment. And they are not disproportionate to your activity that you engaged in, to that seriousness, and to the danger you pose to the public. Now, there were you pled guilty to 4 offenses, 4 separate offenses. So they were committed as part of one or more course of conduct that went on for upwards of 6 years. And by at least 2 of these offenses committed were so great or unusual that no single prison term for any of the offenses committed as part of that course of conduct adequately reflects the seriousness of your conduct. So, and I have, just because it seems to be a specific issue, considered the overall length of this sentence. Now, when you get out, you will be on post-release control for 5 years under the parole authority with conditions. If you do not follow their conditions, they could return you to prison as part of this sentence for 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. If that violation is a new felony, then you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for the violation, the maximum of which would be the greater of 12 months or the time left under your post-release control. Now, since I gave you a maximum consecutive sentence, you have a right to appeal that sentence to the 11th District Court of Appeals. You have the right to have a lawyer represent you in the appeal. If you can't afford one, one will be provided free of cost to you. You have a right to have a transcript of the hearings. If you can't afford them, then they'll be given to you free of charge, and you have a right to have a timely notice of appeal filed on your behalf. The costs are assessed and the remaining charges are dismissed. Is there anything else, Ms. Alessi?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Stand.
Your Honor, at this time, I do believe that my client is going to be indigent and would request that you appoint someone for that appeal.
All right, I will appoint the Lake County Public Defender for the appeal.
Thank you.
Judge Ronald, good morning, of course. My name is Carlethia Wright. I'm the mother of Quintavious Wright, Quintavious Kewan Wright. I didn't know I was going to do my impact this morning. I thought my uncle would be here. Apparently, he's running late. So bear with me. I'm still grieving. I want to say that Quintavious Wright, Kewan Wright, is my first son.
Well, hold on one sec.
Quintavious is my first son. So having him out of having 3 girls first was not just a blessing. It was amazing for me to know that I thought I could have a boy. So when he came in the world as my protector, because he didn't cause me no problem when he was little. Took over his sister as being a little big brother. So that's what they called him. He played basketball. He's a sports fanatic, so he played basketball, sports. Also attended Atlanta Area Tech in college. Was getting ready to go back to school to get his auto mechanic license. Quintavia was real wise. He was real strong. Quintavia got 3 kids. Previous Quintavia got a son who brought him in the world January 4th. So Quintavia lost his life August the 7th. So he really didn't get a chance to see his son. The first love of a son is the mother. So he's gonna hold her right here on his chest. So when you shoot somebody right there, you indirectly talking to the mother. And to shoot him in his back is another symbol of, I don't want you to be able to walk again. That's not fair to me, and that's not fair to his mother. And I want him to apologize to me and his mother for causing us so much pain, because we don't know each other. So he made us dislike each other, and I don't dislike his mom. I know she did the best she could with him. At some point in form, he don't have to tell me today, but when he sleep at night, just apologize to me. And also, before he leave this world, I want him to apologize to his mother. I watched the videos over and over and over, and I did not see a reason for what they did. So I'm not here to damage him or bash him. I want him to understand how he hurt everybody, because we all hurting. So for the courts to take his life, it's just senseless. And I mean senseless. And I like the courts. Let me say, Quintavious' name is Quintavious Kewan White. And she don't get the right to call him Smoke. I have never in my life called him Smoke. I don't agree with street names, so my kids know that about me. We can't control how our kids move above life when they go out in the world. We can only save them so far. And to damage his name, to make him look like he this monster, is not fair to me. And one day I want to apologize to me and my family, because I never gave him that name, and I never called him by that name. And I want us to know I'm going to keep him in my prayers. I thought about him last night, and I said, out of all these, they both lost. Quintavious lost his life, and he losing his life. And that's not fair to me, my children, his children, nobody. Because he didn't have a reason. There's no legitimate reason. Judge, I'm not asking what links on what he did. Because what he did with Quintavious was so terrible. It was so terrible to shoot a person when he already dead, and then turn around and shoot him again. And he never took the stand and tell me why, not y'all, me, why he decided to hurt Quintavious the way he did. That's not fair. And one of these days, I want him to tell the world. He just said in the universe, I'm a spiritual person to get there. That he is truly sorry for what he did to me and his mom. Because I know his mom is hurting just like me, because she done did everything she can for him. Everything in the world, and this is what he gave her in the end. He gave her life in prison. That's not fair to her and to his children. That's all I have to say.
Ms. Wright, I appreciate you being here and sharing that. Mr. Tuitt left a hole in your life and your family's life that you can't fill. I didn't realize that Mr. Wright was your first son, and that's a terrible loss. You'll be grieving for a while. My hope is that this process brings you at least some closure. It certainly doesn't bring Mr. Wright back, but it shows you that people took this seriously and did something about it. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. And I want to say to the court, the district attorney office, Mr. Adam Abadi, and this lady here, and this lady, they have dealt with me for 3 years, and I'm sort of hard to deal with. But I appreciate them for what they did.
Well, you have a basis for being hard to deal with right now. Your son was shot and killed, so I don't fault you at all. I guess I should add, I appreciate you bringing that up. I'm sorry that it took so long for this day to come. Cases shouldn't languish that long. I'm sure the prosecutors told you why there were some twists and turns and ups and downs. It was not because anyone didn't care about Mr. Wright or what happened. It was for boring legal and technical reasons. But the day has come, and like I said, I hope this does bring at least partial closure for you and your family. And I'm glad you have family around you still to lift you up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
On his behalf, do you prefer?
She's going to go whatever direction Deputy Gordon tells her to go.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, Ms. Stewart, can you
How are you?
spell your last name for us?
Sure, Stewart.
All right, and how are you connected to Mr. Tuitt?
I've been knowing him since I was like in high school. I'm 30. Been
A
knowing
long-term friend.
Yeah, really long term, super long term.
All right, what do you want to share with me?
Well, I understand the situation and on both parties that it was just, unfortunate. But I've heard, I don't know, I don't want to call him by smoke, but his family, he also has kids. But Tuitt also has 3 kids. He has a little girl. She's 6. She looks just like him, and he also has a mother and a father, but his mother, father, not really around. He really had to raise himself, and had to have obstacles he had to, do by himself. And he really didn't have no guidance. He really didn't have no structure. He really didn't have anything to help him, no father figure, anything like that. But for most part, he is a family man. He loves his family. And he will give his shirt off his back for anybody. He is very, very kind. He's very sweet. He's not a menace at all to any society. He is just I met him. I was really, really young and immature. And he was just so quiet. And he didn't need nothing to push up on me. He would try to he was just trying to be cool, because guys are back in the day, well now anyways, but they're very aggressive and oh, make sure never I'm going to talk to you. I knew he liked me, but it's just how he came at me. It was just different. So I like that he's just very gentle. He was very, very gentle with me. And he's been really, I'm sorry, I can't even talk. He's been rehabilitated. So he just had to come by these obstacles, but he's not a bad person, and he will give the shirt off his back to somebody. And he's not a menace. He's really not. He's just a guy that just had a lot of problems in his life, and he's just trying to overcome those problems. And I'm sorry that this is the situation that happened. I'm so sorry for you guys. I really do apologize. I'm sorry. I really do apologize about the situation, but I would hate to have 2 black men in a really, really tough, messed up situation. So I just want you to have some type of lenience towards him, because he does have kids, and he does have a mother and father, but no type of guidance, no type of security, no type of anything when it comes to raising a kid. He was just born, he wasn't raised, So can you just please some type of leniency, please, Judge, please. And that's it.
Okay, Ms. Stewart, thank you for being here. I know you were here throughout much of the trial, and I think that meant a lot to Mr. Tuitt, so thank you. Anything else from the defense side?
I have a request. So yesterday he was sent straight to Union City. He wasn't able to get any of his items, 1, and 2, he's not getting. So usually my experience is in this situation, a mental health counselor will come to check in, and nobody has. And I have a concern.
Okay. I'll manage that. Does Mr. Tuitt want to say anything? And let me say this, Mr. Tuitt, before you answer to Ms. Fagan. You have a right to say anything you want right now, but you don't have to say anything at all. There's no burden or obligation. But I make an error if I don't give you either directly or through your lawyer an opportunity to speak. And I've let Ms. Fagan speak, but I want to make sure if you want to, you're given that opportunity. Does Mr. Tuitt want to say anything? No? Okay. All right. Mr. Tuitt, we understand, having heard from Ms. Stewart, that no one is monolithic. There's not just the guy we saw on the landing shooting Mr. Wright not once or twice, but 6 times. There's more to everyone. You're a father, you have family, you have people who care about you a lot. And I get that. What I'm faced with, though, is not the part of you that will give your shirt off your back. I'm faced with the guy who, in broad daylight on film, shot someone point blank range 6 times, taking his life. In some ways, we're fortunate that the only loss, and it's a forever loss, is Mr. Wright. It would have been so easy for more people to have been shot. Who knows, when officers get involved and they hear shots, what could happen? But we have the added tragedy that you are lost to your family in the sense that you're not going to be able to be there on the holidays or the family reunions. They can come see you. You can't come see them. That is the price we exact from people who do what you did. And I'm going to seize upon one of the words Ms. Wright used, and that's senseless. I don't get it. I don't get why Mr. Wright's walking around with a gun in his waistband in an apartment complex with kids everywhere while you had a gun. And heck, Mr. Forte acknowledged he had a gun. It's an unfortunate circumstance that is the norm in some parts of our community. And I'm not blaming those parts of our community. I'm blaming our whole community because we shouldn't let it be that way. The fact that you were born but not raised means that the community let everyone down because you had to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. We all ought to have at least a parent or someone who is assisting in some way, and a school system that means something, et cetera. But I can vent and rage all day long, and it's not going to change anything. You found yourself in your environment and made some decisions, and they may have been split-second decisions, although as Ms. Fagan pointed out more than once, actually it was a 30-minute process to which everyone brought guns, and we see what happens all too often. And the only silver lining I see out of this is that, again, Ms. Wright, you and your family have some closure, that people cared and brought this case. It came in. It wasn't easy for Mr. Forte to come in here and say what he said. And he risked some things by doing that, and Ms. Forte as well. So I think that's important that the process works that way. It doesn't bring Mr. Wright back. It doesn't give Mr. Tuitt a chance in 10 years to say, look, I'm changed. I got a degree while I was in prison, and I now minister to people in need. You're not going to have that possibility for a rebound. Mr. Tuitt, I'm sentencing you, count 1, as required by law, to a term of life without imprisonment. Count 2, 3, and 4, those counts are vacated by operation of law. Count 5 merges into count 1. 6 merges into 8. 7 merges into 8. And 8 is 15 years to serve, and they will run consecutive to count 1. Mr. Tuitt, you have certain important appellate rights. You have the right to have a motion for new trial, which is an argument that a lawyer will make for you to me, that there were mistakes made at trial or in your sentencing. That means we ought to do this all over again. You also have the right to a direct appeal to the Supreme Court to make all those same arguments. You actually can do both. You and Ms. Fagan are going to talk about whether you're going to do both. And the first you do would be the motion for new trial. And if that doesn't go well for you, then you have your right to directly appeal to the Supreme Court of Georgia. You have only 30 days from today to do one of those two things, to start that process. And I'm going to ask Ms. Fagan to stay with you at least long enough to execute your wishes, file that placeholder motion for new trial, or file that notice of appeal. Then we will work through whether you want Ms. Fagan to stay on as your lawyer, and I'm assuming that would be something you'd have to afford, or if you are going to hire a different lawyer or you need one appointed. It is typical that a different lawyer comes in for the appeal, because one of the things the lawyer looks at is not just, did McBurney make a mistake and let something in that shouldn't come in, but did your lawyer make a mistake? Was there something that she should have done that she didn't, or she did that she should not have? And Ms. Fagan can't make those arguments about herself. She's not legally allowed to. And so sometimes, I'd say more often than not, a different lawyer comes in. And that's not you having a vote of no confidence in Ms. Fagan. It's just getting another set of eyes to look at the record. You and Ms. Fagan will talk about that. I will ask Ms. Fagan to stay involved long enough, at least to file either that notice, that initial motion for new trial, or notice of appeal. You've got 30 days to do that. If you miss those 30 days, those rights are gone. You also have what we call habeas rights. And that is 4 years after your conviction is final, which would be either you exhaust all your appeals, or if you don't do anything for the next 30 days, then that 4-year clock starts running. Within those 4 years, you or a lawyer you hire, you're not entitled to one, because I'll make sure you have a lawyer for the appeal I talked about. You've got an absolute right to that. But on the habeas side, you either do it yourself or you or friends or family pay for a lawyer. That habeas you don't worry about until all your appeals are done, unless you skip the appellate step. Do you, Mr. Tewitt, have any questions about your appellate rights? Okay. Ms. Fagan, will you confer with Mr. Tewitt and honor whatever his direction is for that first step?
Yes, well, I'll file the motion for new trial.
Okay, great. And then someone on my staff will reach out to you. Initially, you may be filing a withdrawal, and then we'll sort out with Mr. Tewitt, maybe through you, is he bringing someone on board or do we need to appoint one? And we'll go whatever direction you provide.
I think initially it would be safe to appoint someone,
Okay.
and because I expect that the arguments will have ineffective issues.
Sure.
And I expect that that in the event that he is able to retain, then he would retain, but ultimately just to keep the process moving.
I think that's wise. You can always bring someone in at any point. Hey, my family or friends have hired so-and-so, but in the meantime, we'll look to get appointed counsel upon seeing that motion for new trial that you file.
Yes, sir.
You raised two questions about Mr. Tewitt's mental health and his belongings. If he has things at Rice Street, I'll work with the sheriff's team to make sure they make their way down to Jackson. Mr. Tewitt is not going back to Rice Street. Jackson is, as you know, a diagnostic facility, and day one, they plug in with Mr. Tewitt to see how he's doing and not doing. So I'm not as concerned about that as if he was going to languish here for a few weeks until GDC came to get him. But I have it on good information that he'll be headed there right away. So I'll work with the sheriff's team to make sure that legally permissible belongings go from Rice Street down to Jackson. All right. Ms. Jones-Connor or Mr. Abadi, anything else from the state?
When you were pronouncing the sentence, you said life without imprisonment. I think you meant
Without imprisonment. Well, that's not what I meant. Life without the possibility of parole. Don't get the wrong impression on that one. Life without the possibility of parole for count 1, followed by 15 years consecutive imprisonment for count 8.
then this might have mistaken about seeing the court could ask counsel to ask members of the Tewitt support group. There were several people who supported Mr. Tewitt, which obviously is great, but they have, after they left court, they're taking photographs of the Zoom or the YouTube, especially of Mr. Forte's mother, and posted pictures of them online with rat emojis. They actually posted Mr. Forte's address last night, saying that not only is her son a rat, but the whole family is a rat. That's where they live. So maybe we could ask a request that not occur.
Okay. So, Ms. Fagan, you're going to do what you think is right. Your connection to the case is limited going forward, but I know that we've got Ms. Stewart in court as well as, I believe, Mr. Tewitt's sister. And I would encourage you all to advise friends and family members. I'm not saying you all had anything to do with it, so you don't need to say anything in response. You can just nod your head saying, I've heard you, Judge. It can result in felony criminal charges if people are connected with efforts to intimidate witnesses or obstruct justice. And what was just described to me, if true, would fall into that category. So people are running into some dangerous waters if they're doing something like that. So insofar as you all have influence over people who are passionate about Mr. Tewitt, give them some good advice to dial it back. It's okay to be upset, angry, hurt. All those things are natural, but it's not appropriate to direct those feelings to people who came in here and testified under oath. If it is documented that things like that happened and it's sourced back to an Instagram account that belongs to, I'm making this up, Fred Tewitt, Fred Tewitt's gonna have some trouble here in court. So let's just keep that as quiet and safe as we can. Thank you for flagging that. I apologize for my misstatement of the sentence. Ms. Fagan, thank you again for coming into this case and from the defense side, finally moving it forward. Anything else on behalf of Mr. Tewitt?
No, you're not this time.
All right, thank you. And I would ask one last thing, Deputy Gordon, you can decide. One side of the room needs to leave first. There are only 3 folks here for Mr. Tewitt. Maybe they go first. And I'd ask the folks here for Mr. Wright to sit tight until the deputy says it's okay to go. You all right with that? Thank you.